You call your dog once, twice, a third time, louder now. He hears you. You know he does. His ears move. His eyes flick toward you for a second, and then nothing. He turns his head away, walks to the other side of the room, lies down, like you are not even there. And in that quiet moment, a strange question appears in your mind. Why is my dog suddenly ignoring me? Most people believe this is simple. They think the dog is being stubborn, or moody, or maybe testing boundaries. Some even say the dog is trying to be dominant, that he is choosing not to listen, that he knows what you want and just does not care. It feels personal. It feels like rejection. But that explanation is not just wrong, it is dangerously incomplete. Because when a dog suddenly ignores you, something much deeper is happening. Something quiet, something psychological, and in many cases, something you should not ignore. Let's slow this down. Dogs are not wired like humans. They do not wake up and decide to be difficult. They do not create emotional distance as a form of control. When a dog changes behavior suddenly, especially toward their person, it is almost never a decision. It is a signal. And here is where things become interesting. Behavioral research shows that when dogs appear to ignore, they are often not disengaging. They are overwhelmed, or uncertain, or internally conflicted. And instead of moving toward you, they move away, not because they do not care, but because something inside them has shifted. In one study observing changes in canine social responsiveness, researchers found that reduced engagement with owners often appeared before any obvious physical symptoms, before limping, before vocalizing, before anything you could easily recognize. The behavior changed first, quietly, subtly. A dog who once followed you everywhere now stays in one spot. A dog who used to respond instantly now hesitates. A dog who once made eye contact now avoids it. And most people miss it, because nothing looks wrong, but something is. Now here is the part most people never hear. Ignoring is not always distance. Sometimes it is protection. Dogs evolved from animals that survived by reading risk. When something feels off in their body or environment, their instinct is not always to seek attention. Sometimes it is to withdraw, to reduce interaction, to conserve energy, to stay still. This behavior was described decades ago in what scientists call sickness behavior. When animals feel unwell, they naturally become less social, less responsive, less reactive. Not because they are giving up, but because their body is redirecting energy inward, healing, regulating, stabilizing. So when your dog ignores you, he may not be rejecting you. He may be focusing on something you cannot see, something internal. But there is another layer, and this one is emotional. Dogs are deeply sensitive to patterns. Your tone, your posture, your timing, the rhythm of your daily life. And when something in that pattern changes, even slightly, they feel it. A shift in your mood, a change in your routine, a tension you did not even realize you were carrying. Studies measuring long-term stress in dogs found something remarkable. Their stress levels did not just reflect their own environment, they mirrored their owners. When you are tense, they feel it. When you are distracted, they notice. When you are emotionally distant, they respond, but not always by coming closer. Sometimes, they do the opposite. They pull away, because the version of you they understand has changed, and they do not know why. Imagine this. Your dog is used to a version of you that is calm, predictable, present, and suddenly, something shifts. You are quieter, or more irritable, or simply less connected. From your perspective, it is minor. From theirs, it is confusing. And confusion in a dog does not create confrontation. It creates hesitation. So instead of running to you, they pause. They observe, they wait, and sometimes they step back. This is not disobedience. This is uncertainty, and uncertainty looks exactly like ignoring. Now let's go even deeper. There is a phenomenon in psychology called learned disengagement. When an animal experiences repeated situations where their actions do not seem to change the outcome, they begin to reduce effort, not out of laziness, but because their brain is adapting, conserving energy, avoiding frustration. If a dog feels that responding does not lead to clarity, or safety, or connection, they may begin to respond less, not because they stopped caring, but because their brain stopped expecting something meaningful in return. And here is the part that hits hardest. Sometimes, this happens without you realizing it. Busy days, Short interactions, calling them without truly engaging, touching them without presence. They feel the difference, not consciously, but neurologically, because for a dog, connection is not about words, it is about consistency, emotion, energy. So when that connection becomes inconsistent, they adjust, quietly. Now let's bring this back to what is really happening inside your dog. When he ignores you, his brain is not thinking, "I do not want to listen." It is processing. Is this safe? Is this familiar? Is this worth responding to? Is something wrong? Is something different? And depending on those answers, he either moves toward you or away. This is not defiance. This is evaluation. And once you see it this way, everything changes. Because the behavior stops being frustrating and starts becoming information, a message, a subtle shift in communication. Now here is the emotional truth most people never consider. Your dog does not ignore you because you are unimportant. He ignores you when something feels uncertain. And the depth of that uncertainty often reflects how deeply he is connected to you. Because the more a dog cares, the more sensitive they become to change. Which means the moments they pull away are not moments of distance. They are moments of imbalance. And your presence, your awareness, your response is what restores that balance. There is one insight that changes everything. Dogs do not measure relationships by how often you call them. They measure it by how safe they feel when they choose to come to you. And if that safety feels even slightly unstable, they hesitate. Not forever, but long enough for you to notice. And that moment, that quiet space between calling and response, is where the real relationship exists. Not in obedience, but in trust. So the next time your dog ignores you, do not rush to correct him. Do not assume he is being difficult. Pause. Look closer. What changed? In him, in you, in the environment? Because that small behavior, that single moment of turning away, might be the first sign of something deeper, something physical, something emotional, something relational. And when you respond with awareness instead of frustration, you give him something far more powerful than a command. You give him clarity, you give him safety, you give him a reason to come back. And when he does, it will not be because he has to, it will be because he chooses to. And that choice is everything. Because in the end, you are not just someone who calls your dog, you are the place his mind returns to when everything feels right again. So, tell me, has your dog ever ignored you in a way that felt different? Not stubborn, not playful, but quiet. Almost like he was trying to tell you something. Look back at that moment. There might have been more there than you realized.